Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of FooTea Fantasy, where we talk about football and FPL over a cup of tea. I'm your host Shouvik, and I'm joined by my co-host Sourav, who must be flying sky high after the conclusion of the recent game week, because his team has almost breached the 100k mark, just outside the 100k mark. Sourav, what an excellent game week for you. Why don't you take us through how your game week went to start off with?
Yeah, it was a good game week for FPL. The scores have been decent, and the average was not that high, even though the safety score to get a green arrow was quite high this time. So I had out of my 11 players, four of them had 1 points, and the rest had double digits. So it was quite good. Uh, my starting with Flecken in goal, it was a horrible defensive performance from Brentford with 1 point. Trent unexpectedly giving a point where I thought they would keep a clean sheet at Arsenal. Lewis with an expected clean sheet, and the best player of my team, Luca Digne, with a clean sheet and two bonus. Uh,
He's finally getting the recognition he deserves. Ye-
Absolutely, he's trolling the trollers. So yeah,
Yes,
it's and
perfect
the
time.
midfield. Yeah. So now moving on to the midfield, I have Mbumo, and Mo Salah. So both of them with double digits, and Rogers and Johnson with a single digit. Rogers getting subbed off before 60 didn't help. I could have done with two more points. And then the best part of my team was the attack, where Haaland, captain, had a return, 6 points. And but Wood and Jackson, my transfers in this week have been really good. Wood with 13 points, a brace, and Jackson with a goal and the maximum bonus. So overall, 76 points. Yeah, I'm just outside the 100k. Hopefully, I'll get in the near future. So,
Yeah.
how was your week?
I'll come to mine later on and really will spend as little time as possible on my game week. But just to cover up on your teams, I mean it must be feeling must be a very nice feeling to have uh, immediate returns from your transfer ins, two transfer in, both of them returning. Your Wood was your differential pick for the week as well, and him returning 13 point was I think uh, actually a differential. I mean that ensured a green arrow right at the start of the game week of sorts.
Yep.
107k. I think last pod we were just talking about your rank 10k rises for the past 3 weeks, and I think we discussed having a 100k or just inside the 100k by Christmas. But I think that's coming. Christmas coming sooner for you. So yeah, really hope you can continue this momentum and get inside the top 100k and probably hold fort there for as long as possible.
Yeah,
Uh, Another
but
thing, yeah,
yeah, I mean ranks at this point are kind of volatile. So just a point more would have gotten me inside 100k. So I wouldn't. I mean, holding fort is the would be the most difficult part rather than
yeah,
getting in.
yeah. Ranks are volatile at this point. Game week 9 and 10, all these ranks are generally not representative. But yeah, it's a good place to be. Instead of catching up, trying to hold fort at the top, you'd rather be here. So as we'll see from my rank, you'll rather be here than where I am. But just a point to touch upon your team, Flecken. I think Flecken owners were actually looking at this particular game and were hoping for the first clean sheet. I mean, this game was the epitome of their hopes, but a 1 point from this Ipswich game that must have stung.
Yeah, I would rather play Fabianski going forward. By the way, Brentford is
Oh,
defending.
that was a very interesting development this week. Fabianski starting over Areola without any injury concerns as such, which I know of. I don't know if you are aware of something else.
No, I don't see. I think Fabianski will start a few more games. We see the West Ham Twitter page hyping him up. I think that is some indication of sorts.
Yeah, and And I think West Ham winning would have really helped that as well. You would like to keep a winning team intact. Another notable point which you mentioned was Rodgers getting subbed off pre-60, and post-match, I think Emery cleared that the boy is suffering from fatigue, which is understandable. He's a young guy and he's
Uh,
playing every match, so
Yeah, every match 90 minutes. Yeah, he should get some
yeah,
rest.
Champions League as well. So I don't think there's nothing much to worry there at this point. His performances are good and he won't be benched. I don't think so.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so now let's go to my team where we don't want to spend a lot of time. So I had a pretty horrible game week actually. I was 710K and I absolutely doubled my rank to 1.4 million. I expected a red arrow. I think just before the deadline we were talking to each other and I said I am expecting a red arrow. The Sun injury was a surprise from the last time we recorded. Did not
Yep.
expect him to be injured out of nowhere, and that forced me to play both Gabriel Konate and Raya, and I had to play four defenses: Mikolenko, Lewis. Lewis returned with the six-pointer, but Mikolenko 2-pointer, Gabriel Konate 1-pointer, Raya 0-pointer. So that's a pretty disappointing performance from almost four of my players right there. So yeah, that hurt. And in the midfield again, Rogers gave me a 1-pointer. NDI, I expected a 2-pointer from him, so I can't really complain. Watkins, I expected something more from this game, probably to be honest, but a 2-pointer from him. Haaland, captain, 12-pointer. Embomo, the only bright shining light in my team with a 15-pointer. Foden also disappointed me. I mean, these are the fixtures I got Foden in for, the Wolves and um, the Southampton fixture. I can't complain too much about his performance. I think, was okay, was decent. Did lack some sharpness, but yeah, disappointing game week. I think on the wrong side of variance and not owning any of the premiums, Saka, Palmer, or Salah. Taking that chance, I think backfired on me this game week. But let's see going forward. We'll discuss the plans in the next pod. What the plans are going ahead. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it was a unlucky game week, but uh, it could have gone the other way. I mean, Southampton could have been absolutely battered. You could have gotten Foden hat trick. Watkins could have scored,
yeah,
and and the Arsenal Liverpool game could have been 0-0. So it could have. I mean, like you said, it's the other side of the variance.
yeah. But in any case, we move on. We have to take these things on the chin and move on because this season, I think we can expect a lot of variance. Irrespective of whom you have in your team, there will be variance. You can't have them all. So yeah, we'll talk about FPL a lot more the next pod and a lot of exciting things to talk about as well. But for now, let's start with the game week review. And not only did you have a great game week in terms of FPL, this was a very interesting game week for you because Arsenal were playing Liverpool. So take us through it, your views on the game and how you saw your team perform.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty skeptical on how Arsenal would perform given the injuries and how Arteta was lining up. So I mean, in the last part, I talked about that it could be a Liverpool win or maybe a draw. So a draw as in a nil-nil draw. Arsenal wouldn't be attacking. And I mean, I was pleasantly shocked that the lineup that Arteta had put, it wasn't Kivior or Zinchenko playing, so the defense was pretty decent. I know Partey right back isn't the best, but it's still decent than playing Kivior. So the
Yeah,
first, yeah. So
Partey inverted at all opportunities. Whatever opportunity he got, he inverted into midfield, and that gave a very significant tactical advantage to Arsenal because every time Partey was inverting into the midfield, it was Arsenal's four-man midfield against Liverpool's three,
yeah,
and
that
that played a huge part. I mean, to give At least in the first half, because second half Slot changed things around. But the first half, the majority of the control that Arsenal had was primarily due to Partey inverting into the midfield and that four-man midfield dominating Liverpool's three. And just as you touched upon the lineup, also, I think last part we were talking about the lineup against Bournemouth, and I think immediately Arteta uh, rectified
Changed.
that. Yeah,
So Havertz, Saka, and Martinelli instantly gives you with confidence, and that's what happened at the very beginning. I mean, Saka playing was Saka's goal was absolutely class. I mean, that touch to uh, embarrass Robertson, and then the goal
yeah.
in the first part. Something
I
that we
mean,
expect
you
from.
know what Saka is going to do, but knowing what I think even the commentator was saying this, and as soon as Saka ran on that side of the wing and on at that angle to the goal, everybody probably knew that what he was going to do. In fact, probably even Robertson knew what he was going to do. But to know that and to stop him are two different things, and it really embarrassed Robertson. It was a great goal. The finish, apart from the Robertson, the way he got away from Robertson, the finish was also excellent. I mean, he hit the roof of the net with that.
Yeah, he finishes with both feet. I mean, he's great with. I mean, he's not a bad. I mean, he's not a bad finisher with his right foot also. So we have seen him against Everton doing the same thing, but with his right foot. So, and one thing, I mean, for the goal, the pass from White. I mean, even though he was playing RCB, he knew Saka would run, and that pass was excellent. I mean, that's something Trent would do, and something that Trent did in this
Did
match.
actually, yeah. And
Yeah,
White, because he plays on the right back, he knows
he
Saka. He
knows
has that connection
exactly.
with Saka, similar to how Trent has with Salah. And I think we saw both those elements in this game. It
Right
was
backs, yeah,
beautiful. Yeah.
yeah. Both the goals were amazing. So, yeah, the thing with in the first half is we had the Arsenal of last season. So in our previous part, we talked about that how Arsenal are not attacking from the get go, and that is what they did. I mean, they have been attacking. The set pieces were excellent. Uh, Merino had attacked the set piece before he scored the goal. I think I was scared that he got the shoulder injury again, but then he got back up, and the next set piece it was again a amazing delivery from Rice.
Yeah, and as Arsenal can do without injuries anymore because again we saw Gabriel and Timber going off injured in the second half, which was I think unlucky because that tilted the game into Liverpool's favor because I did not think Liverpool were that much into the game or their attackers were that much into the game. They had to drop deep. Salah I felt was isolated for most of the game. You couldn't Salah didn't have as much influence till the time he got the goal until the time Timber had to come off and Gabriel had to come off.
Yep.
And Darwin had to drop deep again because of that four man midfield from Arsenal, 2 3 man midfield against Liverpool for Liverpool. So Darwin was
Yep.
dropping deep, and yeah, I mean, I think Arsenal neutralized their attack pretty well. So
Yeah, the thing, yeah, for Liverpool's attack, they were only attacking from the left where Diaz was playing because he was the only one who could take on Partey because of his space. But on the right side of, I mean, Salah and Darwin couldn't do much, not even Trent, because Timber is aggressive. Gabriel was there, so it was kind of a very good uh, back four that you'd expect with those injuries. But yeah, I think the Timber and the Gabriel injury absolutely demolished their energy. Uh, I think it was more of a blow to the system that they didn't expect in between. I mean, during the game, it was at I think 55th minute when Gabriel got injured, and it's not like in halftime where Arteta could go and change the tactics. And then yeah, the goal from Salah was excellent. I mean, it's not just his shot. I mean, his finish, but his awareness to see Darwin and then immediately run left and take that
Yeah,
position was
that was so visible. I mean, as soon as Darwin got the ball and probably had just one touch or probably a second, was about to have a second touch, Salah just changed direction and went inside. And as soon as he cut inside, you knew what was going to happen. And
and that pass from Darwin was also good.
yes, Darwin has surprisingly been, he's doing that work for the team. He's dropping deep, winning balls, doing that laborious work, which you don't really associate with Darwin. He's more of, the number nine who just stays up front and creates a chaos. That's how we saw Darwin in the Klopp era. But
And
Slot has transformed him.
yeah, this is a great point because Slot mentioned that exact same thing. That was a plus point for Jota, and that's why he kept playing on Jota because he does the defensive work and Darwin doesn't.
Yeah,
Now, if he starts doing it and shows that he could play the Jota role and score goals, I think Darwin will become a better asset in terms of how Slot uses him.
yeah, and he has a much greater physical presence as well.
Yeah.
So if he can control his his actions and how he carries the ball and can string some good passes uh, together. And he has a great opportunity because Jota is injured, so he'll get this run of games to build some kind of a momentum and understanding with the team. So this is a great opportunity for Darwin, and he is putting in the work. So credits to him as well.
And he has amazing pace as well. I mean, he can outrun Salah at the moment, I feel.
Yeah, that's true. So on one point where, given where we are still on Gabriel and Timber's injury, did you think probably Zinchenko could have come on instead of Luis Kelly? I mean, because he's a young player and this was a big game, and to come on and mark Salah, is that something Arteta asked too much of from a teenager at this point? Do you think Zinchenko could have just come on and used his experience there?
I don't think so because Zinchenko is not good defensively. I mean, if you were thinking from an attacking standpoint, Zinchenko would have been better as an attacker, but not as a defender. So
No.
I think Lewis Kelly. So the thing with Lewis Kelly is that he is young, but he does have the work rate. Zinchenko makes way too many mistakes. I mean, he could very well give a penalty uh, on the left if anyone tries to cut in. So I think it wasn't because the other option was Kiwior. I mean, if Tomiyasu was fit, he would have been the best option to cover
Yeah,
that because
definitely.
yeah, he's defensively I mean, very technically abled. So
Yeah.
and he does attack as well. So
But
I think it
Lewis
was the
Kelly's, I think, inexperience was exposed in that goal
yeah.
that Salah scored because Trent and Salah, you could see Salah biding his time as soon as Lewis Kelly came on, and he just knew he'll get that one opportunity, and I
But
think Trent and Salah exploited that.
I don't think Zinchenko also could have stopped it. So it was the
Yeah,
lack of options. So yeah, I
yeah,
didn't have any complaints there
unlucky.
because the pass was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, unlucky for Arsenal because you would not expect the injuries, and without these injuries, I think if Gabriel and Timber were there on the pitch,
It was
I,
a 2-1 win.
yes, I don't think you did concede that goal at least. And apart from that goal, in any case, Liverpool didn't have any other very clear-cut opportunities. Rather, you could say Arsenal had a goal that
Goal
was,
disallowed.
yeah, disallowed. Yeah, he's
Not yeah.
actually blew the whistle quite early, but yeah, there are obviously many versions of it, and you can have your own perspectives about whether it was a fall, what was a fall and what was not. So
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, it's not something that's very clear cut that we could debate on. But yeah, I mean,
I think in terms of referee, from the point of view of referee, I think he made the decision very early. He did not wait for it, for the ball to go inside the goal before he blew his whistle. So he blew his whistle quite early. Whether that was the right decision to give it a fall or not, that's another debate. But I think he blew it quite early. So I, I don't think there's much of a controversy there. It's if you want to make something out of it, you can, but I think that's still okay. Um, but if we see from a bigger picture now, in terms of the table, the beneficiary from this result is definitely Manchester City. And more than Liverpool, I think this really hurts Arsenal again, because this again points dropped, and this is the fourth game in nine games this season that Arsenal have now dropped points. So in terms of the title charge, sure. What are your views? I mean, where do you see Arsenal at this point?
So, on the injury news, if Gabriel is back post IB, because recent reports have indicated that it's not a major injury, so no MCL, grade 1 or grade 2 tear or anything. So, looking at that, and Arteta saying Odegaard could be back in 10 days, let's say for game week 11 for the Chelsea match, if Odegaard is back, then I see the title. Then I could be a bit positive on the title charge. Else, if both of them are out for longer duration, then uh, there's way too much doubt, because
Yeah, I
Gabriel
agree.
is essential. I mean, we talked about Odegaard in Lens last time, and now Gabriel is also essential to the system. I think no one in the team can replace him because he's
That,
that.
yeah, that Gabriel Saliba partnership is crucial, I think, at the back,
Absolutely,
because they're
absolutely.
both of them are leaders there,
Yeah,
and they connect well, and that's what makes the team function in defense. Just how I think Odegaard makes it function in the attack. So
yeah.
yeah, having Odegaard and Gabriel back as soon as possible is crucial. So yeah, anything else that you would want to cover from this game?
No, not much. Just that Liverpool's attack has been. I mean, they haven't been attacking like they were doing it doing it for the past 3 4 weeks. That might change going forward, because I think with Aston Villa and Brighton in the next two, Liverpool can benefit, especially Diaz and Darwin can benefit a lot from the high lines that they play.
Yeah, definitely. Even Salah can benefit a lot. I think they played a conservative approach against Chelsea as well as Arsenal. I think this is what they did. Even in the Champions League game, they played conservative. I think this is now how you can learn how Slot approaches the big games. He just holds fort, and you know, he's limited in attack. He's not giving them the free license to go and attack as they wish. So this is how I think Slot. This is what we're learning right now. So yeah, let's move on from Arsenal and let's go to my team, Chelsea, at home to Newcastle. Again, this was again a Cole Palmer show, a complete dominance from the midfield man. I mean, the effect that he has had on Chelsea on the game is just phenomenal. He's so effective on the pitch. I think he alone dismantled the Newcastle midfield, and they just could not
Absolutely.
contain Cole Palmer. And the biggest beneficiary of that was I thought was Pedro Neto on the left. And I think starting Pedro Neto was an excellent call from Enzo Maresca, because he and you one of the subtle changes that I noticed from this game, and I think we were discussing this in the last pod as well, that Cole Palmer tends to shift to the right a
Yeah.
lot. And if you saw this game, he held himself on the left. And because pre-game Newcastle would have prepared to overload on the right to stop Cole Palmer, that backfired. And because they couldn't adjust, and they could, the way they were trying to again readjust and overload on Cole Palmer, left Pedro Neto free on the wing. And with
Yeah.
Pedro Neto's pace, he punished them. Um, said that
Neto. Yeah.
that pass to Neto is world class. I mean, you see a pass like that once in a while. I think that's a brilliant pass.
I mean, one thing that baffles me is that how did they get Palmer at 40 million? I mean, it was a it was a hell of a deal, and I think he's one of the. I mean, he's, yeah, one of the best young players of England, and Gareth doesn't play him. So with
That's another
Saka,
scandal.
Palmer, Foden, and Keane up top, I mean, they could win a lot of trophies, but that doesn't happen.
Yeah,
Come,
maybe Tuchel plays them now. We'll have to wait till January to see that. But yeah, hopefully Tuchel can bring the best out of Cole Palmer because for England that would be, great if they can fit Palmer, Bellingham, Foden, and Harry Kane into a system with Saka as well. This is a world-class attack. I mean, this is an attack to be feared of. So hopefully he can make it function.
yeah, yeah. Another thing is, I mean, we just talked about how Saka finishes with both his feet, and I mean, whatever shot he takes, it's not like something random. He first bar, second bar, long shot. I mean, close finishes. So that's that was what Saka does is impressive. What Palmer does is reminds me that there's another Saka out there. So he's the finish for each and every goal Palmer has made is absolutely world class. I mean, that is not the finish of any young kid. So the first goal, which was ruled out due to offside, I mean, you see the pass.
Yeah,
The I mean, we can come to Jackson later, but Palmer receives it and then he finishes it in the second post. I mean, that's absolutely amazing. Let's
yeah.
say what composure and uh, vision that the keeper is out there and he doesn't I mean hit it with he doesn't put his laces through that it blows
Yes.
off. Then
Every Cole Palmer finish, I think he never goes for power, and every finish is with so much finesse, so much composure and calm. He doesn't look rushed. He doesn't look flustered that he's in a goal scoring position and he has to shoot or has to finish. It's like just another pass, and
yeah,
that's how he takes his shots.
and
Brilliant to
this
watch.
yeah the second goal is similar to what he did against Brighton.
Yeah.
So the first bar was left open, and he absolutely, I mean, he hit it with enough power, a grounded shot, and yeah, no keeper could stop it. I mean, with the space that's open, you have to have, I mean, before like reflexes or reach to stop that.
And Nick
So
Pope is a quality goalkeeper. I mean, you would expect him to stop if it could be stopped.
he
So
did
yeah,
get a hand though, but
yeah,
yeah, the shot had enough power to do it. It wasn't. I mean, it was placed. It was powerful and yeah, it was taken quite early. I mean, he didn't drag it for too long. The thing is
yeah.
and uh, it wasn't a attack goal. It was a tackle from Lavia that suddenly turned into an attack, and he had the I would say audacity to take that shot.
And Lavia again, as I said in the last part, also brilliant to watch and such composure and control over the ball, vision, and it's just an excellent midfielder. I just hope he stays fit for the entire season. And one of the other guys who came back with Lavia from injury was Reece James, and we saw him playing on the left this game week. For me, it was a little uncomfortable, maybe because I'm not used to watching Reece James on the left, and I thought, although he performed well, you
Yeah,
can't fault that. But
there are a lot of goal line clearances.
yes, he did an Isak header from the goal line. Although he did give
Set.
a poor back pass to Sanchez, which was probably even more poor by Isak to not pass it to his runners because it was an open goal and he had all his midfield runners right in front of goals waiting
And
for
he had the
just a
time in the
pass.
world to shoot as well. I
Yes,
mean,
so
you would expect Isak, even if he had no one to pass, you would expect Isak to finish with his left. I think it should have been a shot at least.
yeah, and that's I think that is how I think it sums up Newcastle's season so far in attack. They've been creating chances. They're there in positions where you'd expect them to score, uh, and quality finishes like Isak. In previous games we had Gordon. I don't know. It's just not clicking for them. And
Even when they brought in Murphy, to the wing. I mean, he also created decent chances. He created a cross for Isak, which he headed, which again Reece James
Yeah.
was the one who cleared it.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, they were creating a lot of chances. They have that talent, but the team isn't clicking.
Yeah. And I think somehow in the defense, uh, we talk about Livramento and we talk about Hall and how good they are going forward and in attack, but I think defensively it makes them weak somehow. They'll probably be waiting for Sven Botman to also come back. We're talking about Gabriel and Saliba partnership, maybe not that level. I'm not talking about that same kind of
But Burn isn't a
elite.
defender. I
Yeah,
mean,
Burn isn't a central defender at
yeah,
any cost. So you want Fabian Schär and Botman back there in the defense as well because their defense looks absolutely, in tatters. Chelsea could have scored even more, and any team could have. I mean, I doubt if they've uh, kept any clean sheets post game week 3 or 2. I think so. Their defense is not clicking as well. So Newcastle have a lot to think about in terms of their team, their performance. We all expected them to take a step up without any Europe. We talked about this last pod also as well, but yeah, not clicking for them at this point.
yeah.
And
And
their midfield, just to cover up on Newcastle from my side, the midfield in this game, which usually has a good presence with Joelinton and Bruno Guimaraes, their midfield seemed lost. They didn't have any control, and uh,
exactly,
before this game, if there was something I was really worried about, I was worried about Bruno Guimaraes and Joelinton dominating maybe Caicedo or maybe aggressively marking Palmer not to give him that free flowing move that he wants. Just how it happened against Liverpool. But it was the complete opposite. I mean, Newcastle defense was nowhere to be there to compete with Chelsea's attack.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I felt like especially Tonali, Guimaraes, and Joe Linton, we expect him to be attacking, but these two people running around quite a lot. I mean, they didn't expect. No one was actually playing that pivot or trying to block Chelsea's center attacking partnership of Palmer and Jackson. I mean, that's what created the problem. And coming to the attacking partnership, so Jackson plays a lot better than Nkunku plays with Palmer. So he has
Jackson
been,
has massively improved just
and
because
he,
before you put that product, I think he's massively improved this season compared to last season. He was unwatchable last season, but
yeah,
this season his passes are more accurate. His finishing has improved. His general play has improved a lot.
he's he has he was bullying the center mids and the CBs. So the first disallowed goal was an excellent fake, and then he saw that Palmer run, and it was a exceptional pass. I mean, for a center forward, you don't expect Jackson to drop that deep and have that vision. So yeah, I think Jackson is slowly cementing that center forward spot.
Yeah, and I think credits to Chelsea and whoever in Chelsea showed faith in him because last season he got a lot of stick. Chelsea fans wanted him to not continue as the number 9. We went after Victor Osimhen in the
Yeah,
summer as well. But credits to Chelsea for backing him, I think, and credits to Nicholas Jackson himself because he has improved the most out of anybody, I think. So, and his connection with Palmer is at this point is untouchable. Just as Cole Palmer is essential to that team, I think his connection with Cole Palmer makes Jackson absolutely untouchable at this point.
absolutely.
Yeah. So I think we've covered all the points from this game. There was a penalty appeal right at
That
the
wasn't a
death,
penalty.
but yeah, I think it was a
Uh,
soft
yeah,
penalty to give
and
away.
it wasn't and I felt Nkunku should have been carded for such a horrible performance.
I
I
didn't
mean,
understand
for
why.
that penalty. I mean, who
I
dies like that?
and I didn't understand why Nkunku didn't actually go
Yeah,
take that
couldn't
ball, either
exactly.
pass it or shoot it. Why did he want to win a penalty? Because Burn when he pulled the ball back and Burn missed it. So if this was not a fall and he didn't really foul him
Mm.
for him to fall down, he could have actually taken the ball, either passed it or taken a shot himself. So that was, I think, a little bit of poor decision making from Nkunku there. But yeah, overall, a good performance from Chelsea. Deserved the win, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Chelsea is also up to five. So I think the top four conversation is now getting more and more serious in terms of Chelsea. And I think how they're performing, especially their attack, I think top four is on for Chelsea. I mean,
No
uh,
more UECL jokes.
I hope not. I would rather
Oh,
not hear UECL jokes next season.
yeah.
Uh,
So
but I,
Chelsea
to
has
be
been
honest,
impressive.
I did not expect top four. I probably expected them to improve under Maresca, maybe five, six, realistically, because I thought, you know, Aston Villa, Spurs, these teams would probably be doing better than them. They still could, but given what we have seen so far, I think Chelsea have a genuine shot at number four. And I think I was seeing Rob T's again projections for this season, updated projections, and I think Chelsea are firmly there on top four. I think they're projected to score some 68 points or something like that. So good performance from Chelsea. Hope they can keep it up.
Yeah. And the next game is also crucial in terms of how for Chelsea and both for United. So
Yeah, we'll come to United in a minute because there's a lot to talk there. But before we go to United, let's talk about our new table toppers, Manchester City. A little bit of help from Arsenal and Liverpool as well, but nonetheless, they got the win against Southampton, and Haaland finally broke his streak of blank, scored a goal, and probably you would say, not probably, I would say definitely would say that he should have had more. I mean, you would be disappointed with Haaland's one goal in this game. What did you make of the match?
yeah, so it was I the Southampton before. I mean, going to Haaland, Southampton did play well. So at uh, Man City also, even Pep and the players, they praised how Southampton. Uh, I mean, kind of defended, but we didn't expect that. We didn't expect Southampton to put all 10 men on the line and then defending. We expected them to go and try and win it, which was not the case. So I think Haaland is, uh, Haaland is extremely unlucky, and also it's kind of poor from him to miss those chances. We don't expect
Yeah,
luck to be involved there. He could have had that. I mean, the header that he, uh,
it was a header and a tap in. To be honest,
yeah,
if you're talking
it was
about for a player like Haaland, it's a free header, an open goal, and a tap in. That's how I put it.
absolutely. This that the cross from Savio was a tap in. It wasn't like it was high. He had to make a volley or
Yeah.
something. It was a grounded, amazing cross that he could have.
And right across the face of the
Yeah,
goal, he was not far away. He was right there. I mean, you'd not even you'd expect Haaland to score that with his eyes closed. To be honest, I have
absolutely.
never seen Haaland probably miss from these kind of chances in the Premier League in the two seasons that he has had. So uh, unlucky, very unlucky for the in terms of FPL, very unlucky for the people who actually went triple captain Haaland. I think there's a stat which says that since Haaland joined City, this was his second highest XG expected goals with 2.55,
This
35,
is
something like that.
Yeah, this was his second as expected goal in his career.
That's a stupid stat to have. If you have triple captain Haaland, you'd probably, uh, these kind of stats bring tears to your eyes. I mean, unlucky, but a good decision. This shows that the decision making that you could make, the decision that you can make before the deadline passes, was a good one. That made sense. And we talked about this
Yep.
in the
Yeah, we
preview
talked
pod
about
as well.
it being a it talked about it being a good move on paper, in fact. Just
Yeah.
that since Kev was not there and uh, City's attack wasn't clicking that much. So yeah, we decided not to go with it, and it was lucky for us.
Yeah, I think a big bullet was dodged. Big bullet was
Yeah,
dodged because you'd expect those two chances. And if it's a hat trick, you'd be, thinking about it because we all were at some point considering playing the chip. At least I was. So, but yeah, big bullet dodged. Now, but coming back to the game, I think Southampton, although they conceded very early, the first half didn't really produce much, any big chances or much of a clear-cut opportunity, I would say, for City. It was more of the second half that the game turned. But first half, I think Southampton played very well, and Archer had a 1v1 which he hit the post, and if he finishes that, the scenario could have been different and would
yeah,
be
it
devoid of another Manchester City clean sheet. I think that would have been the norm.
yeah, and that would have meant that Haaland would have scored more because
Maybe,
I
yeah,
think Pep wouldn't have been satisfied with a 1-1. I mean, he would have gone absolutely crazy in halftime. So
yeah,
something like the Ipswich game.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
so. Savio,
and now
you've talked
coming,
about
yeah,
Savio. Yeah, Savio. I
Sab-
think he was an excellent. I think we were questioning his omission when Man City drew with Newcastle as well. So
exactly, because
I
there were no crossers in the team.
yes, he's showing his class. He's a class player. Really very smooth on the eye as well. Very, very. I like him. I like to watch him play. He's a. I can't describe him, but he's really a very uh, good creative player and a very good control, very good crosses. Just overall looks like a very polished and good player. And
Yeah,
you
he's a
can
good.
only expect him to improve under Pep.
Yeah, he's a good creator. So the thing is, he that Savio on the right would relieve a lot of pressure from Foden or Bernardo, so they don't have to run towards the byline in order to get the ball and then put it in the box. Savio could do that himself. So that I mean, I think Savio should be playing on the right week in week out. I mean,
I
with
completely agree
yeah,
with you. I think Savio, KDB, Foden, I think these are the guys. I know Pep likes to rotate, but these are the guys you would expect to be nailed because they bring so much of dynamic element to the game. I mean, they can create something out of nothing at any point of time. So, um, from Savio, we need to give some time to I think Phil Foden as well. We have seen back to back. Um,
starts from Foden. I think it was a
yeah,
midweek start and yeah.
yeah, back to back starts in the midweek in the Champions League. I suddenly thought about the Wolves game and I thought he didn't start there, but yeah, the Champions League he started and played 90. He again played 90. So I think the match fitness concerns us are now gone, but the sharpness is yet to come because the Phil Foden we saw last season, he would just receive the ball outside the box, make an amazing turn and shoot, and that shot would find the bottom corner of the goal. But that that touch, that confidence, that turn from Phil Foden, I think that's still not there.
Yeah, he still. I mean, he doesn't. He's not devoid of talent. So he's delivering amazing balls into the box. He's. I think he still has his space, which is not a concern anymore. So I think the more he plays, the more sharper he gets. It's just a matter of time. If Pep doesn't rotate, I think KDB will be back soon post IB,
Yeah,
and yeah, the City team could turn into the old City that we know of. So
yeah. And they've been traditionally slow starters, so you'll expect them to really pick it up now because it's time now that they pick it up.
yeah, exactly. It always happens around this November, October,
Yeah,
November period where they suddenly have injuries and people and with the Champions League, this happens with they try to win all the games in Champions League. They perform well in Champions League and suddenly they slow down in the Premier League. This is, I mean, very odd trend that's happening over the past few seasons.
yeah. But Pep did mention that he's going to rotate heavily in the Carabao Cup. So
Yeah, you don't
maybe,
expect
yeah.
the first
So
team ever.
yeah. So maybe we'll see some rest for the first team players here. Just to touch on the defense as well, we finally saw a clean sheet from them. But in terms of attacking threat, I think all of us especially in FPL, we went with Rico Lewis because the way he was inverting and almost inverting into a number 10 in the early parts of the season, we are not seeing that now anymore from him. His attacking impetus has gone down. His output has gone down. He doesn't look so threatening the way he looked so threatening in the start of the season. If you remember against
It's yeah,
Ipswich, he hit the post and he was looking like, at any point he would score or assist. But I
he
think the
did
threat,
assist the game after.
yeah, he did. And the threat has now shifted uh, again back to Guardiola, just like last season. And I think last pod we were talking about how much uh, final third touches he had, and this game also, I think, out of any defenders in the league, he had the most number of final third touches. So,
Yeah. It's
I,
it's basically, I mean, I think we talked about it a couple of weeks back. It's basically how Pep set up. Now the Gundogan playing the number 10 role and the second striker and sometimes Bernardo coming in absolutely diminishes Rico Lewis. It's not that he's playing bad, it's because he's not getting into those positions. They're filled with other players. So yeah, yeah, I think it's just a way of into the City defense. You can look at it as a 4.6 City defender, like someone like a Diaz or an Akanji, but you wouldn't expect any more attacking returns. Guard, yeah, I think Guardiola is the best attacking defender at this point in the entire game.
yeah, I agree. I agree, and that includes strength, and I agree to it. So, so yeah, let's move on from this game, and let's come to the highlight of the week. Not only because of the result for Man United, but Erik Ten Hag has finally been sacked, and as he said when he came, eras do come to an end. I think the Erik Ten Hag era has come to an end much before it probably started, or much before probably the kind of era he would have wanted to leave behind. What are your thoughts on the sacking and the timing of the sacking on this entire saga? What do you think?
Yeah, so the sacking was imminent by the team was by how the team was performing this season. It could have so what I felt like he could have left before the season started on a
Yeah,
high. They won the FA Cup, and then he knew that the system wasn't clicking. The FA Cup was more of a it wasn't that they blew City out of the park. It was more of a poor performance from City, and then I mean then qualifying for Europe, and I think it would have been a great end to what ETH did. He brought in a few players, some did well, some didn't, but then getting sacked before the Chelsea game with such a big game at home, it puts a lot of pressure on the new manager and
yes.
also a lot of pressure on the Chelsea fans because they did they wanted ETH to be there to be
I'm
an
I'm
easy win.
I'm really really sad today. I'm really sad. I just wish they could have taken this decision a week after. But in seriousness, I think this is a mismanagement by
Yep,
Ineos, and
absolutely.
I think this was so clear for everybody to see, and the fact that they did not sack him in the summer uh, forced them to continue with Ten Hag for these 9 games as well, because they had to cover up that issue, is what I felt, because the results were still not there. And it could have come at the previous international break. I think it could have come at the next international break, as you rightly said, in the middle of a week before, just before a huge game, uh, is a difficult task for a new manager. I think Ruben Amorim is being rumored to be the new manager.
No, he's
We
confirmed.
Yeah, I think we've had a here we go from Romania as well. So and to put that into perspective, I think Ruud van Nistelrooy is going to manage this team in the cup game as well. before Amorim can join in and take charge before the Chelsea game. So that's even lesser time. And just the timing of the decision doesn't make sense because if you had to take this decision, you knew this was imminent, you knew this was not functioning, and not do it in the summer just because of an FA Cup win didn't make sense. And yeah, just the right decision, I think, at the wrong time. Still,
Yeah, yep. Yeah, and the thing is, this game, I think we'll talk about the game, but if Bruno or Dallo or Garnacho converts those chances, ETH would have stayed. That I think that feels like more of a mismanagement from the entire club because it's not. I mean, not to uh, uh, talk about other clubs in a bad way, but if you talk about you see clubs like Leicester or any of the promoted clubs sacking their manager in the middle of the season, and then you compare with United doing the same thing, it doesn't feel right. So you let a manager spend on a lot of players, create a project in his own mind, and then allowing him to play for 9 game weeks and then sacking him is absolutely not something United should do.
and you also allow him to bring in more summer signings over the
Yep.
summer. Now, what are those players going to do if Amorim doesn't see them in his plans? So yeah, a lot of management issues, but I think this is not the place to get into it. I think we can talk about it. It can go up, and we can talk about it in an entirely separate pod, and we can talk a lot about it because there's so much indecision there. But yeah, let's focus back onto the game. And as you rightly said, Bruno and Dallo, I think probably the United management put in a word in Dallo's ears, or else I don't know how he misses that open goal. I think if you Dallo's grandma probably would have scored that. It was
Yeah.
such an easy tap, and I don't know how you missed that being a professional footballer. So yeah,
And
open goal
there's
missed.
an angle from the sidelines if you have seen in case in one of the
Yeah,
extended highlights, it makes it even worse.
yeah.
So
They're calling it the miss of the season, and the United fans are calling it the miss of the season already. So that gives you an idea about how bad it was. And yeah, if you're listening to us and if not seen it, you should go and have a look at it really. And equally bad, I would say, was Bruno's header miss because the quality that you associate with Bruno Fernandes and the way he has been talking about this season, and he has on multiple occasions he has hyped up that he's going to step up and he wants to step up and he wants to turn the corner for United. And if you remember, after the first game week, he came out
yeah,
and he said, "I'll return this favor, the trust to my FPL managers." He went on the international break and he said, "I want to go back and lead United and lead the turnaround at United." And Bruno is like as talismanic as it could come for United at this point, because Rashford is not in that form. But for Bruno to miss that kind of a chance, uh, really, I think, puts the morale down of the team, and
absolutely.
just shows you how things are going at United. And similarly, Hoyland and Garnacho got brilliant chances. I think by first half they should have easily been 3-0 up. I think if you just count the tap-ins and those kind of chances, I think they should have been 3-0 up.
Yeah, and we also talked about West Ham being weak on their right side, so it benefited Garnacho. I mean, the first chance that he gets, he could have easily. I mean, he wrapped his foot around. It should go in the. I mean, it's more of a Palmer goal. So Palmer had the opposite. He was shooting with his left from the left side, so it was a way easier chance from where Palmer scored. I think Garnacho should have scored, and the one that he created for Hoyland, and Hoyland takes all the time, all the touch, and then he couldn't even finish. So it has been. I mean, the point that you put here is excellent. This is a loss on the players. So
Yeah, definitely felt like that because what can the manager do more than this? I don't know because he has created a system. He's attacked the weak part of the opposition's defense. He's put the correct players there. Now he can't go and score a goal for you. So again, that's why I was more surprised by the timing of the sacking because this was one of the better performances from Manchester United, and on the back of a home win last week. So, as I said, it doesn't make too much sense to me. But again, uh,
I think both that one thing that we miss that West Ham's manager is also on the verge of sacking. So it's like two team playing for their managers to get sacked. West
yeah,
Ham is so horrible in defense that I mean they were giving away chances to United and they were missing it. So
yeah, and the fact that Antonio kind of looks like one of the better players on the pitch just tells you uh, how much quality West Ham is putting up on the pitch right now. So, with all due respect to Antonio, but he's certainly not the kind of player who would be, you could say is the best player for West Ham. And West Ham's defense, I don't know how you could fix that, or when will Lopetegui learn that you cannot make this system work with them? Because this win, as we say, there are some wins that can cover the cracks, and I think this win might give a little bit of false confidence. But if you saw the game, anybody who saw the game would realize that this could have easily been a 4-1 to Manchester United or 4-2 to Manchester United.
yeah. I mean if United converts those first two chances, it's easily a 4-1.
Yeah. But having said all this, United, I didn't think deserved to lose given how the penalty was given. What are your thoughts on that penalty?
So it even Ings didn't want the penalty. It was such a it was such a bad decision. I mean he he went down, he rolled around for a while, and then he got up, and he wasn't even complaining. I mean, if you see players faking it and they want a penalty, they would crowd the keeper. Sorry, they would crowd the referee, and then I mean, then it would go to VAR, and they weren't even looking for a penalty. And I think suddenly the referee decides, no, the game is getting boring. I want one of them to be sacked. It can't be a draw. So yeah,
Yeah, and the fact that he did not award the penalty, and for him to go, for all this to go to VAR and then to reverse the decision, because it's it's much like if you watch cricket or even if you watch football, for reversing an on-field decision, you need a clear and obvious error.
obvious, exactly. I mean,
And
that's what's written. Like it
yes,
has to.
and there is so much going on at that point. Before the fall is committed, you feel that the ball actually hits Danning's arms as well. So it could be, you could say it's an handball before the fall was actually committed. And Delit didn't went for the ball, and the ball was right there. So I don't understand how this is an overturning of a decision. I could still probably make little sense of it if a penalty was awarded and
Yeah,
you wanted it to be
and he stuck
overturned.
to it. Yeah,
Yes, because you saw it at Chelsea as well. They did not give that as a penalty, which which was awarded as a penalty, had a very slight touch. You could say it was a soft penalty. Probably would have had lesser controversy than this. But this is what we keep talking about, and every week we have one or two decisions which you again start questioning that where is the you know it should be equal for everybody. So that's not
yeah.
happening. The
And
consistency is not.
it's yeah. The weird part is, I mean, if you see that entire thing, it's I mean, it's a contact sport, right? So the ball is in between two players. Both are going for it. There will be contact between two players that is not directly on the ball. I mean, if someone just taps the ball away and someone would have kicked you in the thigh or the shin, and the contact would be minimal, but you can't give away penalties for that.
Absolutely agree with you on the contact sports, and that's a brilliant point I think that you make. But unlucky for United, I think it was written in the stars for Ten Hag to probably lose and go. So yeah, who can change destiny, right? So yeah, on that note, let's talk about some of the other games from the game week. I think these were the major games that we wanted to cover in detail. But there are a couple of more very interesting games that took place throughout the weekend. One of them that I wanted to bring up first is the Brighton Wolves game. Did you watch that game, sure? And did you
Yeah,
watch the
I did.
ending of that?
Yeah,
It is
absolutely.
completely crazy, and I cannot put my head around how Wafer, it's 4-on-1, and the only defender that he could have done anything. He could have just back passed it. He could have held the ball and went to the corner flag. He could
He
have
could have
passed to
taken
three
a
of his
shot
teammates.
from there.
Yes.
I mean, that would have been a positive result.
I mean, last play of the game, one man that he had to avoid, three to aim
Yeah,
at, a goal to aim at, corner flag there, back pass available, and he hits that one man. Then Tommy Doyle, and what a pass from him, and Cunha scores. And
yeah,
this is really immature from Brighton, I felt.
yeah. This was very. And the reporter interviewing Hutzler at the end asked, "Then why did you lose?" I
Yeah,
mean, it was a brutal question from him.
yeah. He asked him 80 minutes, 2-0 up, you should be
Yeah.
winning the game. He said, yeah, we should. Well, why didn't you? Yeah,
I, I think that sums up how Brighton is defending. So I think we spoke about Brighton's attack and Brighton's defense also. So they couldn't defend to save their lives. They're absolutely horrible. I think we
yeah.
saw them against uh, Chelsea.
Chelsea.
Yeah, we saw them against Spurs. I mean, they did perform well only because of their attack. So it's like they're attacking, and yeah, they have nothing to do.
But
And
this
and
this
now that
this goal came out from an attack. But yeah, the
yeah,
defending could have been better. But I would place really less blame on the defense for the second goal because you have four players forward and suddenly you are on a counter. This is the fault really, of you should not be losing the ball there. But in terms of the attack, I think Welbeck again scoring for three matches in a row now. And we were talking about Ferguson not performing well, but he scored a really good goal, and that would help his confidence as well.
yeah, and the mini Danny Alves is back. I mean, it was him
Ah,
assisting. Yeah,
Tariq Lamptey, yeah,
yeah, yeah, excellent run, and then the assist to Ferguson.
yeah, he's a good player. If he can stay fit again, fitness is a huge concern with him, but if he can be managed a little and he can play, he's a great player.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think Aitnouri also scored. So most of, in terms of FPL, also most of the assets, I think, uh, two most famous assets from Wolves, I think, were on the score sheet. So returning, uh,
I think there's an important development regarding the players. So Dunk is now out for 3 to 4 weeks. That
yeah,
I think that
Brighton, I think, is anyways a team to
target.
target, and now with Dunk out, and they play Liverpool next. So
Yep.
Salah,
Liverpool and I think City in a few game weeks. I think after
yeah,
two.
no, I think Liverpool and then City. I think it's back to back.
Oh, back to back. Yeah, then it's
Liverpool and City back to back before the IB, so no chance of Dunk coming back.
oh,
So yeah, another crazy game from this game week was Brentford is Ipswich. I think that game barely gave you time to breathe because it was so end to end. And Ipswich again, I mean, they'd be ruining so many missed opportunities to score points and to win games. I mean, 2-0 up and then to throw it away like that, 4-3. Some of the goals that they conceded, they could have really done much better than what they did. And I think Ipswich is a team I am really surprised with. I felt personally that of the three promoted teams, Ipswich would be the best. Somehow I felt that with the reputation that they came, with the system that they came, and they retained the manager. Uh, they retained most of the core players. They
yeah.
got in some brilliant players as well. Calvin Phillips, and a couple of more other good players. And this is really surprising for me how Ipswich is performing. But this game was breathtaking.
Yeah, it was a game of so Brentford we know attacks well. Ipswich was great in attack, and both the defense was I mean nowhere. They're not playing with defenders, so yeah. And before going to Brentford, so Ipswich, we all thought that McKenna was more of a pragmatic manager. I mean, he would play a particular system, and he wouldn't be. I mean, this crazy that the thing he's doing. He should have a particular way to counter teams, to stop teams, play a deep block, but he isn't doing anything. I think it's more of uh, attack from the wings or uh, straight balls to Delap. So it's kind
Little
of,
chaotic.
yeah,
It's a
a little
chaotic
little
system,
chaotic.
and he's not doing his image any favors,
And
McKenna.
I think Hutchinson is also not performing to the standards he did in the
I
championship.
had great expectations from Omari Hutchinson. We bought him from Arsenal, and I've seen him play for the Chelsea under
Yep.
21 some performances, and he's a really quality player. And in the championship, you rightly said last season he lit up the championship. He's a great player, and I think he's been unusually quiet and really underperforming. So they need a change in their fortunes, because if they keep playing like this, I think they're going down this season again. And for Brentford, we talked about it in the last preview pod. Yohan Wissa coming back had a big impact.
Yeah.
He
He was your differential
Yeah,
and
he was.
he performed amazingly.
And he got the goal finally today. I think Premier
Yeah.
League, at the time of recording, we are recording this on a Tuesday night Indian Standard Time. So um, before we started this pod, Ten Hag got sacked, and just before that, Premier League came out with a statement that Visa gets the goal, but there will be no changes to the fantasy points. So that's a little harsh on the owners. But I think it's just 1 point. He got the assist, so he got three. If he got the goal, he probably get four. I don't know about how it would affect the
The bonus,
BPS.
yeah, I don't think gets highest bonus because Mbumo had the winning goal. So
Yeah, yeah. So just a 1 point, but yeah, we still feel for you. But yeah, good performance from Visa on as he came back. Mbomo scored the penalty, and the last goal, I think we
that
would
was a
credit.
cross.
Yeah, we would, would credit Mbomo for that, but we'd have to blame Ipswich
Durance.
and
Yeah.
the goalkeeper more. That should not be a goal at Premier League level. That's a Championship level goal. So yeah.
I think yeah, Visa was more central to the game. So yeah, we talked about Visa being back uh, and how it changes the Brentford attack. I mean, we have seen it directly. He's in the box. He's shooting. I think he's a far better player than what Sade or Carvalho could offer up top. I mean, they're good players, but Visa brings a lot to the team.
No, definitely. I don't think there's a comparison between Bisa and Sade or Carvalho. I still think I somewhat
Carvalho
feel
is a good number 10. I think
yeah,
he wouldn't play up top. Yeah.
up top. So yeah, on the left or on number 10, I think Carvalho is where he plays best. And while we're on Brentford, I think their defense is now getting on the nerves, especially for FPL managers who own Flecken. Even if you own their defenders, Pinnock or Collins, you would have got some returns in terms of goals. But as a Flecken owner, it would be really, really frustrating. And even if you have Vanderberg, you're at least you have a little bit of sympathy, or consolation for that, for the correct
And
word.
you have money in the bank.
Yeah,
I mean, he's a
he's
4
4
million.
million.
Yeah.
So, but for Flecken owners, there's just no respite. There's no
Yeah,
respite.
I'm planning on transferring him out. I mean, if
It
he's not
hurts
keeping
to
anything. Yeah.
spend a transfer on goalkeeper, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I'll think of him as a defender. He's not doing anything. I mean, I can't go on with this 1 and 2 points.
You can start with Fabianski, but we'll discuss this more
Yeah,
in the
that's
FPL preview pod. We have lots to discuss this game, you guys, in the FPL. So we'll come to that in a couple of days. So another game was, I think Brentford saw we saw late goals at Brighton Wolves. We saw late goals at Brentford Ipswich. I think this was a game week of late goals, because we saw another one at Aston Villa Bournemouth, and both the game goals came late, but especially for the Bournemouth equalizer came at, I think, 90 plus 6 minutes with Evanilson's header. So yeah, I think Aston Villa would be really disappointed to be dropping points like this. And
and Aston Villa should have scored more.
yeah,
I think Watkins was quiet, but the rest of the team, Duran got a good chance,
yeah.
and the rest of the team could have attacked. I mean,
Duran
could have scored.
Duran had a brilliant chance. I think Dinia put in a set
Yeah,
piece ball which Onana,
for Onana.
which was brilliantly saved by Travers and just got fingertips and it deflected enough. Uh,
Was it Dini or was it Roberto Carlos? I think we have.
yeah, he deserves that praise from you especially because the way you have been calling him a troll for
And
so
he's
many
been
games.
performing well. I mean, it's not just lucky. I mean, this was a lucky FPL point, but even leaving this clean sheet apart, he has been performing quite well.
Yeah, and not only the clean sheet, he got two bonus because he was the only person on the pitch who left with a clean sheet, so he got two bonus points as well. And because he anyways generates BPS because of his attacking input, the crosses that he's putting in and the attacking play that he's involved in. So yeah, Lucadine owners would be happy, but in general, I think Aston Villa is underperforming. Their performances have been underwhelming this season, and they'll need to pick up the performances if they're looking for a top four finish because Chelsea, as I mentioned earlier, are really looking on it this season. So Aston Villa need to turn up, and similar you can kind of a story you can say for Spurs as well because losing at Crystal Palace and that game. I would like to have your thoughts. What did you make of Spurs?
So Spurs. So I think Moore played on the left wing instead of Odegaard. I mean, Son being injured, so that kind of uh, affected the chemistry a bit. That's what I felt. But yeah, Spurs were being. I think the chances that they're conceding are uh, that's affecting how they play. I mean, once they start conceding those chances, they are not falling back. They are not thinking of attacking quite a lot. That's how I see so primarily the game state dictates how Spurs perform. So if they score an early goal, they go all out attack, and if they suddenly start conceding chances at the very start, I think Spurs break down suddenly. I
Yeah,
mean, that's
they
what
lose all
happened.
chemistry. They lose all
Yeah,
chemistry. It feels like their attack is everybody's playing first time together. So, yeah, absolutely great point there. And I think Son is so crucial to this team because he's that leader and he's that binding force in that attack. Not having Son, I think, really affects how Spurs play. And it is very important for them to have Son back and Son fit for the entire season. And
Son
the
is not just. I mean, Son is not just good to the game. He also uh, shoots a lot and creates those chances as well. So,
yeah,
so that being, I mean, he's more like a talisman to the team,
yes,
and
definitely.
opponents know that they try to mark him, and that what allows the other wings or the striker to play.
Yeah, he opens
So
up
that
spaces. His runs, his
opens up
shots,
space.
and his general threat opens up spaces for the other players, which I don't think anybody else at Spurs carries the same kind of threat at the left wing or for any attacking place for that matter. I don't think Solanke is generating any kind of threat. He had an XG of 0.02, which is terrible for a Spurs striker, and I think and so this is something I wanted to talk to you about. Do you think Anne should go back to the system he was trying to play last season with Richarlison, and he can probably use that system for Solanke because
Mm.
he has a much better striker
I
this season, but this system has really forced him to play deep and not really use his potential.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. So, so in the later part, I think he substituted. He brought in Richarlison
Richarlison,
and he
yeah,
played Solanke and Richarlison up top. That didn't work well, but Solanke was taking up good positions for those few minutes. And what you said is, I mean, I totally agree with that. Solanke should play up top. I mean, he's not. I mean, we compared him with Firmino, but we should essentially him with Kane. I mean, they played that exact same system with Kane and Son, and even on the right it was Kulusevski. Even though Kulusevski is not a pacey winger, he would still help with the counter attack.
yeah.
So now they have Brennan Johnson on the right and Son with on the left. I think if Solanke, if they don't have Kane, they would they should surely shift to the old system, because both Son and Brennan Johnson, they can create chances and they both cross in the ball a lot.
And
We have
every time they're crossing in the ball, if you see the match, and I was so surprised to see this, and I keep bringing this up again and again. Every time there's a ball in the box, you won't find Solanke there. And it
uh,
was so surprising for me because last season we saw the exact opposite. That wingers were making their runs and they were just, without looking, they were just crossing the ball because they
yeah,
knew that the other winger and Richarlison would
would
be
have been
there.
there.
And Richarlison scored so many. If you just jog your memory, he scored so many goals just tap in from crosses.
Exactly.
And
And there were Brennan Johnson or Son crosses as well.
yes, or Kulusevski.
Yeah,
With Solanke there now instead of Richarlison, why you would shift away from that system is absolutely beyond me. And when it is not working for you for a best part of 9 game weeks.
yeah, I
And
think it's yeah.
yeah,
But
and another thing which Ange himself mentioned post game was a staggering fact about the defense. And he said we lost the ball in our own half 7 times in the first half or the second half, I think, and 4 of them resulted in big chances. And that I think sums it up how poor they are in trying to playing it out from the back. And this new trend of playing it out from the back is not really suiting most of the teams you see. Um, I think we have seen this with Spurs. We are seeing this
West
with
Ham,
West Ham, Brighton again holding a high line and all those things. Just doesn't work, man. Play conventional football first. I don't
yep. And that
know.
and system, I think it would surely change. He's he's quite a pragmatic manager. He doesn't. I think he always adapts to certain players. He's not that uh, stubborn, I think, because he did experiment quite a lot with uh, Kulusevski in the last season, with Richarlison, with Son up top. So he does keep on experimenting, and hopefully he changes the system. Yeah, Spurs are not playing how they should.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
something, yeah, and in this game, something that I saw for now coming on to Crystal Palace is that Crystal Palace is now starting to adapt to a particular system. I think as that primarily is because Eze and Mateta are playing together. I think that whole concept of Kamada sometimes playing, or Nketiah,
And KTR, yeah.
or
They
and
need some
that,
consistency in the lineup
yeah,
to start with. And they need
they need,
Mateta and Eze on the pitch.
absolutely.
Yeah. And this was a good game for them. They created quite a few chances, in fact. So you can say you can argue it was Spurs' defense, but they did play well. I think Gueye had a very good chance. Eze himself had quite a few chances
A
and
couple
played
of
well.
chances, yeah.
Yeah,
I think it was a goal that was again marked
ruled out.
offside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think this game will slowly give confidence back to Crystal Palace, and I think they need some confidence more than anything else, and some consistency in their lineup. So and Sar, their winger, I think Ismailia Sar, he was very
Yep.
lively. Almost got Van de Ven a red card. I don't know. Again,
It should have been a red card.
inconsistencies in the
Yeah.
referees' decisions and everything. I don't know how can you explain that not to be a red card while Saliba was a red card. I just don't understand. However, we move on. I think a couple of other games that we have not covered, and Everton Fulham. I think before the game week in the preview pod as well, we said it would be. It feels like a draw, could be anybody's game. 1-1, I think the fair result, uh, and both teams did turn up, did produce some good chances. Dominic Calvert-Lewin refused to score, no matter how good the chances, and Fulham did play well. Smith Rowe had some good chances as well, played well, I thought, and
Yeah, Fulham's attack is clicking. So they are like we said, that entire team is playing well, and this game particularly showed it. So it was an excellent run from Smith Rowe, and then passing it to Yobi, and it was, I mean,
Good finish.
quite a good finish. Also before that he dribbled past one player and then took a shot.
Yeah,
So
good
that was
play
great.
probably. Yeah. And
Even Raul is playing well.
yeah,
He is even if he didn't score the goal, he's creating a lot of chances. So
their entire front line and attack, everything is they're all on top of the game, I think. They're all doing well. So Fulham
and
is a good there's a good run of fixtures coming up as well. Short
but an
term.
unlucky goal conceded. I mean, it was at the very end that, and that too from a substitute header. So
Yeah.
uh,
That ball was put in by India,
yeah,
which
that absolutely.
Ashley
Ashley
Young
Young,
put
yeah,
it on a plate for Beto to head in. But yeah, so good game that as well. And then the only game that we have not covered is Leicester Nottingham Forest. Although we started with Woods, we mentioned Woods brace, and I think he's in red hot form. We've talked about it in the preview pod as well. And yeah, Nottingham Forest, I think in general, I think are in the top half of the table, sixth or seventh. I don't
seventh.
remember. Yeah, so excellent
We
start
didn't
to the
expect
season.
them to be there.
Yeah, Nuno is doing an excellent job, and to for them to be seventh, I don't think their fans would have thought that they'll be seventh come game week 9. In fact, I remember just before the season started and I was preparing for my FPL team, I listened to a pod. I think it was Planet FPL who hosted a Nottingham Forest fan, and he said after 10 game weeks, if we are somewhere around 12th or 14th, I think he mentioned, we would be happy with that, and they're seventh. So great job by Nuno. And we have to mention that they are missing Gibbs White at this point, while they are scoring 3 goals away to
Yeah,
Leicester. So
Missy Gibbs White, their set piece specialist is also not playing. So
James
James
Ward-Prowse,
Ward-Prowse is on the bench.
yeah. So, although you would say you can argue that Leicester's defense is shambles in every game we are seeing that. So that's a counter argument. But Nottingham Forest have been scoring every game week. I think that they're playing well. In general, their defense is good. Their attack is clicking. Wood is in form. So again must more like Fulham. I think they're a well functioning team at this point. So yeah. Right then, anything else of note that you would like to highlight from this game
No,
week, Shurab?
I think we have covered most of the games and most of the points. Yeah.
Yeah, was an exciting game week for sure. With Arsenal, Liverpool, uh, great game there. Man City winning, going back to the top. I think it poises us perfectly for the busy festive period that is also going to come up. But before that, we'll have the game week 10 on us pretty soon, and we will be coming out with the preview pod in a couple of days' time. So do keep an eye out for that. And for all of the people who are listening to us and who are celebrating Diwali, a very happy Diwali to all of you. Stay safe, take care of the environment, and also take care of the animals. Uh, Spare them a thought. And yeah, a very happy Diwali to you and your family, for everybody listening.
Happy
Uh,
Diwali, everyone.
yeah. So just before we bid goodbye, our usual uh, like and subscribe shout. If you're watching this on YouTube, please do like and subscribe and comment. And again, as we say this every pod, we are looking for your feedback. And if you're listening to this on the audio platforms, you can connect with us on any of the socials on X, Instagram, and Threads. Uh, you can find us there at FooTea Fantasy, the same handle everywhere. So it'll be great to connect with you and to hear from you as well. So till the time we come out with the preview pod, take care of yourself and see you again. Tata.
Thanks for joining.